Fake friendships in Hollywood are pictures of currency on the red carpet with side hugs, shared looks at fashion at award shows, week in which it appears on the top page of individuals, but what occurs when one of those phony friendships were never. This isn't supposed to be phony at all. This concerns a woman and is only a falling out who observed the life, not the career, of another. Role life and determined that it ought to have been hers, and we begin with that. Emily Blunt and Blake Lively. Emily Blunt has consistently avoided the John Krasinski is married to gossip radar. Two girls who have received praise from critics. A profession that flourished in silence while some yelled that she wasn't attempting to be. She had previously been in America's Sweetheart, the genuine sensation of solid regard. Unproactive, which is most likely the reason Blake Lively desired admission since in 2022 when Emily and Blake showed up simultaneously. Chanel hosted a special dinner in Paris. One thing is remembered by several witnesses. Blake continued to speak with John at. Initially, it was cordial industry conversation. Told tales of directing, but then the pictures showed Blake laughing as well. John grinned too much, and then Emily did not appear in any of those Chanel frames. Pictures of dinner are evoking strange feelings. Where are Blake and John in each shot? That should have been the end, Emily, but it didn't, since a month later, John. A bouquet was given to Krasinski's helper. Blake's arrangement, with no notes, only the same white orchids that she had shared on Instagram 2 days prior with a comment, for who receive it, the males. Emily never replied in public, but within 3 weeks, she deleted every picture that had Blake tagged in it. Wait, did Emily post from her Instagram page? Simply delete all of her previous photos and Blake, something fell, but it's still there. Blake continued to smile, but Emily's actions. Next, she surprised everyone by did not unfollow or subtweet her. Asked Blake to work on her upcoming project. And that's when the actual tale begins. Nobody anticipated Emily's involvement at first. Not after the orchids, but after Blake. Early 2023, not after the eraser, but the unexpected statement was made discreetly. Slipped over Emily Blunt's deadline, and Blake Lively will appear alongside. Tether psychological drama without fanfare. Brief haze of the press trip with the phrases two female leads and an executive. Blunt produced the project, which had been Emily's enthusiasm for more than a year. Included a sophisticated thriller that lasted almost 2. A woman's childhood pals become poisonous. Competitors trapped in a deteriorating isolated retreat following a mental health crisis. Reese Witherspoon's type of project, or although Nicole Kidman may have produced. The twist is that Blake wasn't ever in the first script. Insider disclosure from the initial draft of the production notes was Emily is having a two-hander within Blake Lively, an unknown British arrival. Name wasn't revealed until the studio received involved, so why bring her in? Why does this new Emily have a plan? No advertising, no mood. Blake's movie feels odd. Blake is not renowned for behind-the-scenes thrillers. Weren't merely out of alignment. They were. Unfolding. Blake was late for the. After reading that, she changed her clothes. Writes that on the first day, she demanded that characters ought to be emotionally misinterpreted, not as the adversary, but multifaceted, and the filmmaker he was John Krasinski's close friend. One source claims that Blake attempted connecting with him via John, she maintained, mentioning how she and John had a similar humor. Quickly became awkward. Emily. She started to arrive without saying anything. Checking the dailies, she sent early private messages to the editor that she wasn't reacting. She was getting ready when the scene, they were unable to come to a one thing that would change everything, including the union.
And just a reminder, every deleted tweet, fake statement, and PR cover-up takes hours to piece together. If you want to help this channel keep going, hit that join button and become a member. We'll keep exposing what they won't.
The strain had been constructing. Tether's filming for weeks had arrived at its most challenging scene, a clash between two females. unraveling alone with no action. It was meant to be a glamorous yet painful experience. Regarding Emily's character exhibits restraint and provides a silent final monologue regarding treachery, loss, and relinquishment, but Blake had other schemes, which one source referred to as the Blake's transformation of the screenplay into her. She sobbed on the call throughout her own treatment appointment. She tossed a prop chair that wasn't hers. She accused the character of improv, gaslighting her without anyone noticing. Emily practiced and remained in character, didn't blink or wince, and she uttered 6 words when the director yelled cut, that nobody overlooked whether we're still filming. Trauma or tether hearing things. Strange improv on the Emily Blake movie set. Freakouts altered the tense passages in the title of the tether may be more literal than we believed. That the following day, Blake asked her to own editor, not a script or an assistant consultant, a real editor or someone who would create a post that is more balanced. Emily allowed it to occur, but 3 days later, that editor had quietly resigned, having an NDA signed. The production budget and timetable were changed once more, expanded, and Emily began working extra hours with the marketing group because during Blake's film rewrite, Emily was revising both of their endings. The movie and the story of what transpired was understated, yet it changed the whole power structure due to Blake didn't recognize Emily's departure. The scene captured in the video by the time the third act was in post-production. Tether had split into 2 distinct films. The one that Blake and Emily shot believed she was the lead in Blake's. Didn't realize Emily had started rewriting the conclusion not only of the movie but also of the press release as a whole, since as Emily, the executive producer, had the last word on advertising tactics, and she applied that power. Suddenly, the official films. The initial look email was sent to the trader. 1 social, 2 press stills, and editors. Teaser. Only Emily in the profile, not Blake. Alone by myself on a windswept cliff. Blake's unreadable, blowing expression. Team demanded a joint after hitting the roof. Encouragement of equal narrative framing. Balance, but Emily didn't answer. She just blasted a new catchphrase straight to PR for the studio's contacts. A few stories belong to the people who made it through them. Just observed the Tether Wild teaser and how they presented it as a solo vehicle for Emily Blunt. With Blake, wasn't this a two-hander? Unexpectedly, lively Blake reposted a still from the set with the caption, "This is for." She believed that everyone who has ever felt erased. It might elicit pity, but the remarks, "You erased the writing and became a quick chick." Blake wasn't playing the victim in her. Emily's quiet is more audible than her own mess. Emily's behind-the-scenes caption was at a round and wasn't even observing. BAFTA-hosted event when questioned regarding. She grinned and offered her role in Tether. The iciest statement in the entire advertisement. Cycle. You don't have to interrupt others after you've outlived them. But this wasn't the last time Blake lost it, because the invitations to the festival were sent out. She reacted when she saw her name was missing. Blake had received the invitation from the can. Always been a certainty her team had already asked for fits, and they had even leaked too about her return to her independent roots. See page 6. With Tether, but when the official Emily Blunt was deleted from the event schedule, listed as an executive and lead actress. Blake, the producer. Lively's name was absent from the not in the event press is the cast breakdown. Kit isn't even on the red RSVP list. When Carpet arrived, she wasn't just left out. She was deleted. Actually, Blake Lively's name is absent from the list of Tether cans. That's a scheduling problem, not a message her team initially attempted to spin. According to a source cited by one newspaper, Blake decided to forego this one in order to spending time with her family, yet on the same day she uploaded a picture with a really glam hairstyle, robe with the caption zipped up. Occasionally, the invitation simply disappears. Correct? People realized she wasn't kidding. And they weren't sharing her laughter. Emily was unconcerned in France in the meantime, posing with a glass of wine and her spouse. Wine when a Vanity Fair representative asked. Regarding Blake's absence, the correspondent only stated, "We all come for what we helped produce." Then the aftershock struck. A European PR agency's leaked memo disclosed that Blake had been purposefully omitted the Cannes promotional deck. Why the red highlighted logic was used. Low brand volatility is advised. Visible placement up until the last. Reviews all became clear. Emily wasn't the only one doing this. Blake was now being treated by the industry as a danger, and they were acting in the most vicious manner by feigning. Blake believed that she wasn't present. Nothing could be worse but the premiere. Reviews, they didn't simply disregard her, examined her, and gave Emily credit for surviving. When Tether eventually made its debut at Cannes, Blake was going to get his moment. Despite the absence of her name on the official lineup, her team executed a last play, organized a viewing party without permission, an Instagram-only rollout in New York. Clips of Blake sitting that are highly stylized on a plush couch while seeing the movie with a carefully selected group of. The message for stylists and influencers was evident that even if I'm not the star, I still on the carpet. However, the problem is that reviews disagreed about a cultivar known as Emily Blunt gave a vicious performance. The Hollywood Reporter said, restrained. She brought a script that might have the worst line and otherwise sunk. Tether is an exquisite example of delicate character work. Additionally, for the part of anyone except Blunt that Alina casts would have been disastrous. I can't believe Blake nearly starred in this role that Emily created. Blake didn't post again throughout her period for no brand, no story, and no selfies for 2 weeks. Campaigns, as that evening the industry flipped the page and Blake wasn't on it, and the last insult originated from. In a now viral review, IndieWire Emily Tether by Blunt is a silent storm if the, according to speculations, Blake Lively was once taken into account, then give thanks to God for. The connotation wasn't subtle, second chances. It was no longer even subtext. Instead, it was the way the industry says, we saw. We know who made what she attempted. This task, and we're proceeding. By the end of the month, without her, casting companies weren't only staying away from Blake, she was being labeled, and when it was confirmed by the internal document that leaked, what Emily never stated aloud, this wasn't. This was a blacklisting, just a consequence. No one in Hollywood uses the word blacklist, not in emails nor in public on file, but it's there, and in April 2023, evidence was released by an inside hazy document from a large agency, redacted and swiftly removed from circulation. It wasn't among a few insiders. Blacklist designation wasn't necessary, because a single line encapsulated vivacious V. Avoidance is advised due to high visibility risk. For prestigious projects in the third quarter too. Brand instability observed in the fourth quarter. Awaiting. The document became viral after reevaluation. Reddit lighting up Substacks in a matter of hours. Even the casting directors dissected it. Began discussing quiet corrections on Twitter. In the field, don't be surprised if Blake's future endeavors in private disappeared off the development slates. An internal document just verified that she's been tagged. And worse, nobody rejected it, neither Blake, her group, or the agency involved, since, at that point, silence had evolved into a private representative strategy, began to distance themselves from the former. Her name was taken out by collaborators from brand partners for decks delayed renewals. And a renowned public relations consultant stated on background, she isn't on any blacklists but been benched, but the outcome was different. Blake's sole public reaction to the label appeared in the form of a mysterious tweet. Unclear off-brand. Silence can sometimes speak louder than. Twist the responses, cruel girl silent. Isn't power when you no longer have authority over. The Emily Blunt was named in the meantime. Can the Tether script's Best Actress was picked up by A24 for a limited re-release, and a picture that was leaked revealed her at lunch with Florence and Nicole Kidman, two of the most respected low-drama actresses in the business, and Blake did not appear in any interviews. Just a photograph, no invitations or premieres, softly disappearing from relevancy, and just when it felt like Emily did something nobody noticed and it was over, she returned to the project as anticipated. That initiated everything and expanded it. More than anyone anticipated by the end of 2023, the tale of Tether ought to have been over. The casting had locked the scripts away, altered, and the press cycle had progressed, but Emily Blunt said she hadn't since the industry believed she had walked peacefully out of the mess she was creating. She was far more strategic than that. Constructing her own version began with Emily was heard whispering as she entered the offices for a standalone production studio, a small, exclusive space where the original author of Tether had signed a first-look contract recently. Then the rumors that Emily isn't finished restarting it, appropriately listening to the buzz that Emily Blunt Tether is being subtly redeveloped into a same author, 4-part limited series. Original vision with no obstruction. Saltwater. The new title has the same emotional essence, same psychological significance, but this time, no blonde, no glam, no publicity plan. Opponent with a high-end purse, simply a raw, uncut character analysis, and guess who didn't make the cut? Industry's quick response to the rumors. Same individuals that withdrew from Blake's Tether's version began attaching, exposing themselves to Saltwater. Costume designers and cinematographers, consultants for emotional closeness, and moreover, Apple acquired the show. TV Plus with zero PR, hoopla, no splashy announcement. Merely a brief update regarding the premiere is scheduled for early 2024. A crisp writing and unflinching episodes. Critics of performance referred to it as the role of her professional life, and Blake's rendition. The narrative's twisted, refined, and stripped of subtlety has long been hidden in the footage shelved, the cancelled contracts. All of that was pulled by the distribution contract. The comparison Emily didn't make was all that was left. Retort. She didn't share any quotes. Simply used the same narrative and presented it in the power is in the manner it was intended to be told. The Saltwater trailer was reposted by Reese. So did Zendaya, Florence Pugh, and so forth. Mariel one random Thursday afternoon. In response, Streep sent one emoji. The message in the Saltwater teaser was evident, but Emily wasn't finished due to her. The last move was not a show, rather it was a discussion, and when she expressed it loud on the microphone on the camera, everyone at last realized the true nature of Blake's actions. Emily Blunt had remained calm, computed, unconcerned, but the interview came next. Early March, sit-down podcast recording. 2024 basic setup with one camera, one microphone, and one query that altered everything. You've experienced a lot in the last few. How does it feel to take years? When you told Emily your story, she didn't flinch, didn't raise her voice, or even grin. She simply stated, some folks prefer not to have a tale. They'll do everything to get attention, to stand some distance from the truth. Burn it. People want a story, not a narrative. Spotlight, and the truth will be burned. Simply to stand there. Emily Blunt simply concluded the discussion with a single sentence that the video became viral, and it wasn't simply. She said it calmly in the quote. Chilly as a woman who didn't require retaliation since she had already prevailed. The YouTube sector was overrun by reaction videos. Insiders only used one word to repost it. For the first time in a year, and with regard, nothing remained for Blake to spin. Immediately after that, Blake Lively. Tether's version became a Hollywood. The makers murmured a warning tale. Many stylists mentioned it on the back. Writers made mention to it during fittings in. The project is not tied to therapy. Meanwhile, Saltwater was the most popular Apple TV show, plus 3 weeks' worth of streaming charts. Emily Blunt, who is heterosexual, got her first. Nominated for an Emmy for Best Limited Series. The author and actress inked a 3-picture deal. Bargain, and the message is quite clear. That's where the story should have ended, but Emily was able to make one last move without one word, not a declaration, not a tweet. Merely a silent shift that concealed Blake's brand for good when the interview comes around. Blake Lively's clip received 10 million views. Had ceased posting any new campaigns. Rollouts without a red carpet invitation. Only in Instagram's feed appears to be frozen in time. Arranged, polished, yet vacant, and at that point, Emily Blunt made her last move without using words or a podcast. However, using something much more straightforward, she didn't extend Tether's rights, she purchased them in silence using a third P, only verified by the party-controlling corporation. A legal document that was leaked and submitted to the WGA returned the original script to Emily's. As hands wait, Emily Blunt simply obtained the initial Tether draft again. Similar like the previous version. Oh, for the most part, she played the long game. That would be an act of vanity for actresses. However, Emily ordered a rework with the original director and speculate. Whom did she cast in the updated version? Herself is not well known. British theater actress, aged 23, with CV and no red carpet experience. Shakespearean when questioned about why she didn't play the main part, Emily only stated, "I've lived it already. It's time for person to say it," and in an instant, the story changed. Blake attempted to reorganize once more, but there was excitement about a new scent campaign. Get a sneak peek at a new Hulu romantic comedy that didn't stick, due to the fact that the crowd had gone on and Hollywood had already taken comments that she believed she could revise the. Emily just reminded her who wrote the story. The initial draft, if you ask. People in the industry don't actually discuss Tether rather than the version that broadcast, not the version that Blake took over. They discuss what might have happened, and Emily Blunt's ownership of it. She didn't ever raise her voice. Never threw shade, she never even posted. She waited, watched, and took a selfie. When the time was appropriate, she took back things in silence. Instead of simply leaving, Blunt walked through the flames and returned with the game.